All right. Hopefully we're live here. I haven't done this in forever, and I wanted to just get out and try it doing this a little bit more. So, anyways, welcome. I just wanted to share an experience that I had over the weekend. I tried to engage with a Trump supporting person, and we were over at a nice little pub, making some new friends, hanging out, and there was an older gentleman that wanted to sit down and talk with me, and he asked me what I thought was going on with the country, and I said, well, I didn't bring it up, so he did, and I wanted to make sure I was respectful and said, look, I know that people are very animate about what they believe and what they support, and I am certainly one of those that's very animate about living in reality. So sometimes there can be a disconnect, and it would be a hindrance to communication. Or if you do have communication, it can devolve into arguing and negative communication, which I definitely don't want to have. But he goes, no, it'd be nice just to speak with you about it. And I was like, okay. So I said, well, obviously I've got concerns because there's a portion of the country that's still trying to relitigate an election and follows a individual whom, in his power, president of the United States, or former president of the United States, has a lot of power, a lot of influence, and frankly, I just told him flat out what I thought. I believe that Donald Trump is now officially a cult leader, and the Republican Party has been hijacked by Donald Trump. Granted, I don't agree with a lot of conservative views. I am not a conservative. I'm definitely on the left. I'm for progress. I just don't align with their values. That being said, I can have respectful debate, conversation, and actually can have some of my mind change depending on facts. And as facts change, what I believe changes. I don't get to choose to believe something that's not real. I think belief isn't a choice. That being said, I told him that this person has definitely influenced that party, and it used to be a party that had some respectable elements to it. You think so far back as Reagan and H.W. Bush, there were some values in there with immigration and even gun control that were not anywhere what the party is today. In fact, I would go to say so far as to say that Donald Trump is not a conservative, and I don't think a whole lot of folks will debate that, especially his detractors that are on that side, because they know. Yet there are people now that have changed their entire way of life. It's almost that Trump worship is it's a cult. They harbor anger. They want to impugn reality, if you will. They don't even believe COVID is real. These are the same folks that do the ivermectin or whatever, the horse dewormer, hydroxychloroquine, monoclonal antibodies, which is a treatment, not a preventative measure, and it's certainly not a cure. So it's just that party's crazy. It is. And anyway, so I wanted to kind of give you guys how things rolled out and they were starting, and I didn't share my thoughts that way. I just want you to kind of have a foundation of where I'm coming from. So it wasn't a very long conversation. We actually discussed a lot of things up until he wanted to make it political. And so when I told him, I said, I believe that Donald Trump is a cult leader because we don't all live in the same reality. He told me, and this I think is very important to get out in front of people, and it's certainly a strategy that the right wing is using for their extremist beliefs and their to energize their base. But this is the issue. He said this is not Republican versus Democrat, which I had not mentioned, other than that the Republican Party had been kind of taken over. He said it's not Republican versus Democrat. It is good versus evil. Good versus evil. So I had to stop him right there and say, look, sir, whenever there's two sides of the debate, people are going to think their side is good or correct, and the other side is wrong or evil. But evil and good are not analogous to right and wrong. They cannot be substituted. So what they're doing and what he was doing was to state basically that he's got goodness on their side. Donald Trump is the ultimate good, and those who stand against him are evil. Therefore, you can justify just about any horrible, horrific attack, terrorist, the Capitol situation. All of that is because of the good versus evil mantra that Donald Trump put out into those people that are his followers, his devout, religious Trumpian followers. And that it's scary. So I told him, I said, we cannot have a conversation if you think you're good and I'm evil. Because everyone is a mixture of good and evil. We're not just on one side or another, and we can evolve. I know there are many flaws with me, and I definitely don't think of myself as good or evil. I just try to make sure, as Doctor Who once said, everyone is a mixture of a bag of good things and a bag of bad things. And all we can hope to do is hope that our life's value, the bag of good things, outweighs the bag of bad things. I thought that was pretty cool. That's Doctor Who. But anyways, so I told him, yeah, we're all a mixture of this. You can't signal, or not signal, but put everyone into just one category or another. It's oversimplification at the very least. So, that being said, I asked him, I told him, I reject that. Automatically, off the premise, I reject that on its face. And he said, well, what would you say? I said, I don't agree with Republican versus Democrat either. At this point, it's reality. Who lives in actual reality and who has their own opinions about what's real in life? Because if you live in a world, and in your head, Donald Trump is still the rightfully and dutifully elected president, that Joe Biden had rigged the election or what have you, you're not living in reality. If you think that vaccines are a secret government plot to take away your freedoms, you don't live in reality. It's crazy. If you think COVID is a hoax, you don't live in reality. If you think January 6th was initiated by the FBI and Antifa, you don't live in reality. So, that was my premise, and his response to that was, do you believe we went to the moon? Boom. Done. Do you believe we went to the moon? And I said, oh my God. Please tell me you think that I don't believe we went to the moon. Please tell me that's what you think I don't. Because if you are going to tell me you believe we did not go to the moon, or you assert that you know we did not go to the moon, then we can't continue a conversation. Because you're in a different reality. And then he goes, well, not only that. So he jumped right on that. Yeah, we didn't go to the moon. Which is not unexpected for people that believe in this Trumpian style of way. If they say it, it's the truth. If he says it's the truth. Doesn't matter what the facts are. And every one of these facts about COVID, the election, and all the lies that the Republicans have been putting out, their voter suppression, because they're saying that there's, widespread voter fraud and all that BS. Those are all lies, and they can easily be debunked, and any one of us could find that data out. I've certainly looked, and it's just blatantly obvious. But when you talk with someone who not only will not check that data, but disregards it altogether of whole cloth, where do you go from there? So he told me, not only do I know we did not go to the moon, but where's Hunter Biden? And I thought, what is this? Is this the laptop thing that Fox News and other lying right-wing propaganda channels have put out? This is what I thought that was going. I said, what do you mean, where is Hunter Biden? He goes, he was assassinated. I said, what? He goes, yeah, he's not with us anymore. I was blown away. I don't know where that came from. I've never heard anyone even suggest that. So that was a new one for me. And then he goes, and Colin Powell. And I said, what about Colin Powell? He just passed away last week or the week before. And he goes, nope, he was assassinated. I said, okay. I said, sir, I enjoyed our conversation earlier. You seem like a nice person. I wish there was something I could do to reach out to you and offer you some way to get yourself educated that you don't believe these things. It's not a great global conspiracy. But I just don't believe there's a way that we can get there from here. In fact, I did mention, I was like, well, maybe I'll start streaming, and it would be wonderful to have a person that actually does believe these things up here with me, and then we could have a conversation. Obviously, it probably wouldn't be fruitful, but it would be entertaining, and I'm all for it, So that was how that ended. And I was like, I think I want to tell people about this conversation I had, because it just, I was speechless. I was speechless. So there are people that accept that viewpoint for Trump. And then there are people who just don't care because they want to ban abortion. And that's a lot of them, like these evangelical Christians. They want to take women's rights away from their bodily autonomy. And that's been the law of the land. But Donald Trump and his cult worked very hard to make sure they put two very much pro-life, and I would go so far as to say activist judges, that they were put there and installed with the purpose of overturning Roe v. Wade, that they will dismiss everything else. Donald Trump is one of the most immoral, unethical, uneducated, idiotic people that has ever been in political life. And that's saying something. But as far as presidents go, he's always, it's so funny because Donald Trump's like, in the history of the world, everything with him. There's no variation. There's no shades or transitions. It's all the absolute worst in the history of anything and everything. I think he's the worst president this country has ever had. And I'm not saying that to be pedantic or hyperbolic. It's true. I mean, we have this person actually attacked his own government, the United States. He broke the Constitution and attacked another branch of government. He should be in prison. He should be in prison. But his whole party is an accomplice to this criminal act, except for, of course, the two Republicans with integrity, Liz Cheney and Adam Kissinger. So that party's corrupt. It's bankrupt morally and ethically. They need to do something. There needs to be someone to rise from the devastation of what's left of this party now, just almost exclusively angry white old men and women that are worried about the browning of America, and it's sad. I wish I lived in the time where white people were no longer, the majority group. We need to get there quick. So I'm all for, interracial relationships, marriages. Let's tear down those barriers, get people, so that the white folks can see there's not anything to worry about. But white privilege is a real thing. I'm white. I have Hispanic backgrounds, and I'll say it. I definitely know that that exists. I'm sure I've benefited from in my own life. Although I never try to take advantage of it, I'm aware that my life experience is not going to be the same as someone like an African American or a first generation migrant from coming from Mexico. I can guarantee you, we don't have that background. I don't have those experiences, but I want to be sympathetic and empathetic to people's plights. So, anyways, I thought it would be good to share a video that I saw, and you guys have probably seen it already if you're listening to me talk about this, and it's something that interests you. But Jordan Klepper from The Daily Show, he volunteered. He goes, I volunteer to go to these Trump rallies and engage with these people and ask them why they think what they think, and just engage with them. And my hat's off to him, because that is a very dangerous thing to do. We already know this is a violent group. They demonstrated that on January 6th. And from the nature of the language, the political leaders there are doing, like the kid from North Carolina, Cawthorn. Wow. Little Nazi Jr. He's already calling for raising guns against fellow Americans. He's told white men to raise their sons to be monsters. It's insane. It is insane. And then you hear applause. The people there are, yay! Yay! We want more white monsters! Yay! I don't get it. I do not get it. It's insane to me. It's a cult. But anyways, I digress. Let me go ahead and put on here a little bit of Jordan Klepper. Let's kind of watch some of that and see some of these reactions. I'm sure this is going to be hysterical.
I'm back at my first Trump rally since January 6, 2021, a day no one will ever forget, unless you're a Republican member of Congress.
Yes, Trump is gathering people once again, so I headed to my favorite Iowa state capitol, where the crowd was ready to proclaim Trump won, and Trump won, and Trump won and rides a tank, and even though Trump won, they're hoping he runs again.
You know, hey, we're placing
That is one fat, obese president. I don't mean to fat shame at all because I've been heavy myself at times. But just seeing the contrast of what they put in with the Rambo and the built body.
My last Trump rally was January 6th.
Guys,
have you seen any gallows go up anywhere?
He's definitely not in good shape.
Do you think Mike Pence will show up here today, or does he not want to hang?
Does he not want to hang?
I think he would be afraid to show up here today.
Yeah, why is that?
Because he was a coward. He didn't do the right thing. That's why.
Or because these people tried to kill him.
Yeah, well,
Right.
I don't think they would.
No.
I don't think they would try to kill him.
The MAGA faithful expressed their support for the former president in all the totally normal ways, with Confederate flags in Iowa and images of Trump on a velociraptor with a machine gun.
Cult.
You know, people say, oh, that's a cult,
Oh.
blah, blah, blah. But I feel like cult is such a negative word. We are not a cult. We are a group of Americans that love our country and
Let's
want
see
it
how he handles
back.
Are there
this.
any old hits or things you hope he goes back to?
Oh gosh, I feel like whatever he spews out of his mouth, I just love it.
He definitely spews.
I
He's
just
spewing.
love-
It doesn't matter what he says.
Yeah,
We're gonna love it.
I
We're gonna love being here. We're gonna love hearing what he has to say.
But this isn't a cult.
No, I don't think so.
Not a cult at all. It's
Let me stop it there for a second, just because I think that's a very important part. So, these people stated that they were going to follow whatever he says, whatever he spews out of his mouth, and that what a great choice of words those were. So that means it doesn't matter who he is or what he stands for. It's what he says. That's why we've seen people join QAnon. QAnon, the way it's kind of gotten its power is through what I had mentioned earlier, not arguing that we have two sides of an opinion or two sides of one position. It is that there's evil and then there's good. We're good, and whoever disagrees with us is evil. And they take it another step. What's one thing that we all would probably get us riled up enough to maybe even cross a line of murdering someone? Self-defense, number one. If you do anything to a kid, you do anything to a child, like sexual molestation, there's really no defending that. That is pretty evil. So if you can say that all of your opposition are child molesters and pedophiles, you can justify any use of power, coercion, terrorism to attack those in opposition to your viewpoint. So that's not a coincidence why these people are calling Democrats, or like Democrats, whoever call progressives or liberals, and they want to say that we're all pedophiles and our leadership are drinking, what's it, oh man, I can't remember, but there's some type of chemical they say is an infant's blood. Just Google it, or not, adrenochrome. so there may be they're out there killing babies and taking their adrenochrome. They said that about Hillary Clinton. It's insane. I don't know if they try to push it on Barack Obama. He was so much of a class act. Not much would stick to him on a negative. You literally have to be a white supremacist to be against Barack Obama. But so that's how they cage that. Not only good and evil, but my enemies are all pedophiles and child molesters. Will you join me in trying to take them down? That's basically what they're selling here.
It's not like they would rather almost piss themselves than miss a second of the Donald speech. But if they're already looking to Trump's yet-to-be-announced 2024 campaign, what are the big issues?
I really hope he gets to the topic of the border crisis.
That's one of the bigger things right now because that's completely being brushed under the rug.
And
Yeah,
you're
border
from
crisis is a legit
Iowa?
I'm
concern.
from Iowa. Yeah.
So you worry about people coming from Minnesota?
Trump's potential
That's pretty
campaign
funny.
would also be about healing the broken nation caused by the
culture
current
wars.
Biden administration.
I mean, obviously, this administration is doing all it can to pit each other against each other.
Yeah, every way, shape,
That's
and form, they've
ironic.
been trying to divide it.
Yeah, it's like this administration is giving the middle finger to half
Yes.
the country.
The whole country, if you ask me.
And that's
The
just
whole damn country.
that's just wrong.
Yeah.
It's
Klepper
absolutely
is
wrong.
We shouldn't
on
be giving the
point.
middle finger to half the country.
Right.
We should be loving one another and working
We
together.
should be. We should be working together.
Right, right.
It doesn't matter what your opinions are, we can still be civil to each other.
Exactly.
And still be this great country that we are supposed to be, or we were at one point in time.
Yeah, doing this is childish.
Yes.
I've had people stop
That's
talking
funny.
to me for my views.
We should show respect.
Yes.
What's going on with your shirts?
I think they speak for themselves, do they not?
Why doesn't someone want to engage with that? Am I right?
Exactly.
This is sort of like the Trump welcome sign, right?
Classless.
Maybe the most surprising
Completely
moment of the
classless.
rally was when I ran into an old friend I thought I'd never see again.
Q's back!
Oh,
And there's
brother.
Q shit everywhere!
Yes, the online conspiracy following a mysterious character known as Q was more popular than ever.
Is that a Q?
Yeah,
Are you a Q supporter?
certainly.
Wasn't Q's whole thing that Trump would be reinstated as president?
He's never left.
This guy's
No
about the
doubt in
same
my
age as the
mind,
one I talked to.
150,000%.
That he's still president of the United States? Really? Does he still hold the powers of the presidency?
Well, he's been flying around the world on Air Force One. It says something.
I thought Joe Biden's technically on Air Force One. No. So they're faking it?
Yeah, it's not even a presidency.
Who is running the government right now?
President Trump
He's running the government.
and the military.
And he's running the military. So we should blame him for what happened in Afghanistan.
No,
Bingo.
But it's still his fault.
it's way beyond my.
Understanding.
Wow.
I'm.
Thank you for talking to me, George.
Bravo,
Enjoy
Jordan
seeing
Klepper.
current President Trump.
Thank you.
So Q is telling them that Trump is still the president, and also where to park their cars.
A lot of characters here today. We have a woman directing traffic wearing a QAnon shirt. I assume she's also inspecting cars for
Also
lizard
notice
people and
how many people of
make-believe
color
pedophile rings.
are here at the
And thanks to
rally.
online bullshit, they have a very interesting take on who was behind the January 6th insurrection.
Oh, Antifa, like the corrupt FBI, basically rhinos,
Anyone
corrupt
who's
politicians, the deep
knowledgeable
state,
that
all
Trump is
that.
a
I don't
criminal.
believe it was people like me and people like you see over there in that crowd that did it.
Who was behind?
FBI, CIA, Antifa were used. Other groups like that.
They can't.
It
think
seemed
for
like a lot of them
themselves.
were going
They are
into the Capitol
shoveled this
to
stuff.
attack Nancy Pelosi and perhaps hang.
Who?
What's that?
Who? Which one? The one with the bullhorns? He's not a Trump supporter. I don't care what his resume says. He's not a Trump supporter. In fact, do you remember the picture of the plane in Afghanistan with all the people running next to it? That was a balloon plane. If you look at the pictures
A
of the
balloon
real
plane.
plane, there's pieces that are missing from the real
A
plane to that
balloon
plane.
So we're
plane.
saying there's a conspiracy around the Afghanistan withdrawal.
No, I'm saying that there was one guy there who ran. It's the only guy who turned to the camera and waved his hands. Do y'all remember that? Everybody remember that? He's the guy with the horns on his hat.
He was in Afghanistan.
Yes, go look at the pictures.
I think he's in jail right now.
No, that's what they tell. Who's gonna?
We gonna find pictures of like the horn guy in like the background of old Civil War photos or in paintings of the Revolutionary
I'm
War
just
time?
telling you, the picture looks just like it.
Can America's centuries-old democracy survive the 2024 campaign?
That's a legit
Maybe
question.
this guy knows.
Okay. Oh man. So, anyways, that's Trump's with the oldies, and their cult is still very much a danger to democracy, because if Trump does run again, God, I hope he's in prison by then. But if he does run again, it really doesn't matter if he wins or loses. He's going to have, again, his cult attack everybody else, try to delegitimize the country as a democracy, which if he's done it for 4 years straight by that time, another 4 years after that, how much more of this do you think America can take? I'll leave it on that. All right, anyways, thanks for watching.